What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Episode 3 of the David and Goliath podcast. This is going to be a kind of a different episode. We're just kind of like freelancing it. We really ain't got much to talk about besides the first topic that we have, and that was the NIL deals. But before that, how you been, Dalton? How's your week going so far?
It's been pretty good, man.
Besides
Been
yesterday,
chilling at the house.
besides last night.
Well, that we what he's talking about is the weather where we live. Got a little interesting last night.
Yeah, that's why
D-
this
Uh,
episode's a day late, by the way.
yes, unfortunately, Cody had some power issues
Yeah.
at the house,
Yes.
which I called right before
He
it
did.
happened.
He said, you think we should hold off on recording this, postpone it today? I was like, oh man, it ain't even that bad outside. Yeah, like it's not even an hour later. I lost power for like 3 hours. I was like, okay, all right then. All right, we'll get into the first topic here, and that's the NIL deals being available to college players. Which, if people don't know what that is, that's the name, image, likeness deals that they can get for their personalities, their name, their branding. They could do basically whatever they want with it, and they can get paid and still play NCAA sports. So, what's your opinion on that? You like it, dislike it? You know?
I think it's great. I love it. I'm a huge fan of this.
Me too. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's finally becoming a thing. Like it's been long overdue, and it's been long
I agree.
swept under the rug that it's actually happened. But now that it's legal, I guess you could say, maybe they'll.
Right? Did you know for a long time now, these fantastic college players, like these big names that go to these big name schools, have been getting paid under the table
Oh yeah,
because
for sure.
that's just, I mean, we're just being honest here. That's part of the recruiting process. You're
Yeah.
going to get paid. But I think it's better to have it out in the light and have a deal like this going on. Uh, I think it'll just lead to a lot more success, not only for the players as individuals, but also for the schools.
Oh yeah, they get
So
they get a revenue stream through it too. I'm pretty sure.
exactly.
And I mean, I don't think the kids see this money until they graduate. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they could, but I don't think so. So
Well, if that's the case, I think that's fair though,
yeah,
because if that wasn't the case, then who's to say a very talented high school athlete comes in, gets all this money, and then just dips
and it just
and
bounces.
doesn't
Yeah.
finish the season? You know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
they that would be very bad,
Oh yeah, I
and
mean,
people would definitely try that because people are stupid. So
oh yeah,
I can see somebody doing it.
oh yeah, big time. People will try that, and I mean, it's pretty cool to think like you could like there's so many different deals to go through. Like there's so many different like styles of deals. Like you got crypto, then you got just like regular branding of everyday things, and like it's really cool to see like the colleges take a different kind of approach to it. I guess you could say like they. I know Kentucky has a crypto one, and that was one college. Kentucky was one college I never thought would have went down that route. Like that surprised me when they said that they got that NIL deal, and I'm like, but I guess because it's newer school kind of stuff, like it's newer that they're gonna go for it. But I mean,
Right. And I
and
mean, the reason I think that it's such a positive thing is because if you just sit back and think about it, how much money were these schools making off of these big name recruits coming out of high school?
yeah,
Like these players should be paid, and not even necessarily the big name guys, but if you're contributing to a successful basketball organization on that level, at the collegiate level, which is a very high level, I believe that they deserve payment for that.
oh yeah,
Just my opinion.
obviously. So I mean, like there's like I've looked it up, and it's like the 12. the 12 massive NIL deals that just happened in 2021 alone. Like, number one was the Mercedes-Benz EQS brand ambassador program, which that's another NIL deal. The degree breaking limits program, which is another one. Like, they're partnered with, I think, 19 different athletes, like male and female athletes. You got the GT Sports marketing deal, which is like $1.4 million, which is, yeah, it's another college one. And then you got the WWE's. The WWE has the WWE Next in Line program, which that's really cool to see. Yeah, that's really cool to see.
Like, are there any details about that one? Because I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, it says the program provides access to the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, as well as resources for brand building, media training, communications, live events, and more. And once the program is finished, athletes may get the opportunity to secure a WWE contract. So it's kind of like a training grounds for them, kind of.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's really cool. They got like 15 different people, I think, on it right now. Yeah, they got the Cavender twins. Are they in college now? I don't remember if they're in college now. But the high school twins that are like, they're really good at basketball. It's really cool. Like, I'm looking at some of these players. They had Dalton Wagner, who he's a football player. That's really cool. I did not know that. I really did not know that one was a thing. And then you got Paige Buckers. She's a Gatorade NIL deal. So
big time.
Yeah,
Gatorade.
I mean, she deserves it. She's really talented. They got Dr. Pepper, Mackenzie Milton's NFT, which is really cool. That NFT is really cool. And then you got another one, the Gable Stevenson WWE contract, like Kool-Aid. It's like, and a lot of them are crypto.
Well, those are some big name brands. That's pretty legit. I mean, that's nice.
And it is really cool to see. It's unique too. It's like, it's something that it gives college athletes a reason to do it, I guess you could say. Because like a lot of the times you look at like college and it's just like, oh, you're going to class, but now you're getting paid to do it. You know what I'm saying?
And see, I think that's huge for these young athletes, because if you think about it, obviously we talked about just a second ago how the big names, the big recruits, were getting paid under the table, right?
Yeah.
But the not so big name recruits that fill out the rest of the roster are having to go to class, work, and play their sport, which includes practice and physical training.
Yeah.
They got to do all that just to make it. So that's why I think college athletes, that's another, yes, exactly. It's another reason that this is a good thing. These guys should be paid. That way they can focus on, they still need to focus on their classes, I in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time.
You should always have a fallback plan.
Yep.
But, I mean, having to focus on 2 different areas instead of 3 is definitely much greater.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you'll be more financially stable regardless, since you're just being there.
Exactly.
Yeah. It makes a whole lot of sense. And, like you said, a lot of time goes into it. I watch a lot of the Division I athletes on YouTube, a lot of them, since they're doing the day in the life, since they're actually allowed to do it now and make money off that too, which is another cool thing. Like, that's really cool to see.
And that just allows them to focus more on actually becoming a better athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of having to, go down the block and flip burgers into McDonald's so that you can get some money, to pay for your housing and all that. Yeah. And your books and all, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, big time.
I could definitely see where for a lot of those guys in the struggle bus. And I know that most of them get scholarships, but every now and then you get a walk on that's really good.
And then they
Like
earn their
just
scholarship.
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I watch people like Jordan McCabe. I watched Jalen Clark, who has his own crypto coin, the J Rock coin, and it's so cool to see them being able to branch out and do other stuff other than just having to be focused on school basketball or football or just anything like that. They have another avenue that they could take if they so decide to do it, and they still have their college eligibility, which is a big thing, which is a very big thing, especially in sports, because you never know when that could be taken away from you.
That's very true. It's sad, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Just because you're a college athlete don't mean you made it. Even when you're a pro athlete doesn't mean you made it. Anything could happen.
Look at, and not only that, not only can you have a great possibility of getting injured, which is sad, but it is the truth. Let's just be realistic.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you also need to learn financial management
Mm-hmm.
because so many NBA players have made it to the league, made their money, and then blew it all,
Oh yeah.
and now they're broke.
Oh yeah. A lot of them. A lot more than people think.
Yes,
I think there should be like a financial literacy class that's like
mandatory.
yeah required. Yeah. That'd be smart for the colleges to do. Because like even in high school I think I took one like like class like that to where it taught you how to like fill out checks and do stuff like that. But it was only one. It was only literally one class out of 4 years.
Yeah, it
And
was
I
mine.
don't remember that.
I learned it in senior math, which is a rudimentary
Yeah.
level. Like it's not an advanced math class. It's like the basic.
Yeah.
I'd already taken algebra and geometry, so I could either take algebra 2 or trig, which
This
I was
trig
not going
sucks.
to take.
Trig sucks.
Because,
It's
listen,
terrible.
I hate math. I can do math, but I hate it. I find it very boring, and I would rather watch paint dry on a wall. I'm not even playing. But I learned how to like file a checkbook
Yeah.
or balance a checkbook,
Yeah. Balance.
and just basic life skills in that one class my senior year. At the very end,
Mm-hmm.
they should have been teaching us that stuff from the very beginning.
I was trying to think if mine was my junior or senior year. I took like financial literacy, A and B. So I lied. It was two classes. So I don't remember if I took it junior or senior year. I know we had to take it. I don't remember. But yeah, there's. I mean, stuff like that just needs to be taught in general. Just like I don't know, it needs to be mandatory. Even if you're in college and you think you still know how to do it, you still. It's just a good life lesson. It really is.
I know we've talked about it before, but I can't stress enough to the people that listen. The educational system in this country is very flawed. So if you're a parent, teach your children basic life skills
Oh yeah.
because schools are not going to do it. Public schools are not going to do it.
Some private schools
Maybe,
don't even do it.
yeah, I'm sure there's private schools that don't even do that.
Yeah.
So teach your children basic life skills, please.
Mm-hmm. It'll help them a lot more than you'll ever know. Trust me. Oh, we're gonna segue into probably something that's been going on. Well, it's not probably. It has been something that's been going on still, and we started away from the last episode because we didn't want to bring things down. I like to bring up the Ukraine and Russia thing again, just to kind of get like an update on what's going on. Have you been checking up on it? Because I watch it every day. I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm so fascinated by it. Like
I have been keeping up with it, yes.
it's just so fascinating, like what they're doing, and like how they're still fighting back and still going strong, I guess you could say, even with Russia wanting to backtrack, and I think they're going to try to attack from the eastern flank again. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't even think they know what they're going to do, honestly. So
All I know is that Ukraine is battered.
Oh yeah.
Like the landscape of Ukraine is battered.
Oh, it's rubbled.
And Vladimir Putin is showing no signs of giving up at all.
I don't think either side's really showing.
Anytime they talk about Ukraine trying to possibly promote some kind of peace, you'll see a response from Vladimir Putin, and I mean, he just shuts it down completely. He's like, no, we're not gonna have peace.
I mean, it's sad to see.
He means business.
Oh yeah,
it is sad.
But he's not doing like he's not taking. He's losing more ground than he's taking now. Losing more ground than he's taking. So like his military's not. They're not looking too healthy. They're having to backtrack, regroup inside of either Belarus or Russia, and they're gonna have to try a different approach, which I don't know, man.
I'm afraid that it's gonna come down to him using bigger weapons. If you catch my drift.
What about have you heard about the chemical warfare being used?
Yeah, I have.
What is it? White phosphorus? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that's some serious business right there.
That's some gnarly stuff.
Oh yeah, it burns you. It burns your skin when it touches it. It burns you from the inside out. Metal in your lungs. You can't get it off. Yeah, it don't come off. And the fact that they've used it, I think they've used it. They've been caught using it twice, I think, in 2 different spots. But it didn't really make a. It didn't make a dent. Really, I don't think so. From what I've seen. That just shows how Ukraine they're overcoming the odds, basically. I mean, they have a whole country stacked. Them and Belarus stacked against them, and they're fighting. They're digging their toes in the ground and they're fighting. I'll give them that. They're not letting them have it easy.
You want my honest opinion on this whole thing?
Oh yeah.
I think that the coverage that we're seeing on the news
is not the truth
about Ukraine. Yes, I don't believe they're telling the whole truth. I think that Ukraine is taking more of a beating than they're letting be known because they don't want people to be afraid right now. They don't want any fear mongering. But I'm telling you, I just don't see how the power that is Russia is having so much trouble against such a small country.
But I mean, you think of Vietnam that happened to us? Like it happened to America in Vietnam.
That's true.
We went over there and tried to take their stuff, and we thought, they're nothing. And
we thought wrong.
Yeah, they did. I think Ukraine is doing so good because they know. Obviously, it's their land. They know what they can and cannot do on it. Russia's having to learn what they can and cannot do on it. A lot of it's urban fighting, and I don't think Russia knows what they're doing when it comes to urban fighting at all.
Guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, it's so different. You got to use ambushes. You got to use IEDs. You got to use snipers. You got to use in urban environments. That's what if you put one sniper in a city, that locks that whole city down because they don't know where he's at, and they're not gonna patrol because they'll go 1 or 2 of your men right there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I do. And, speaking on Vietnam, which I've studied a lot about wars because I'm a history buff. I love history, especially military history.
Oh, yeah.
Which we've covered that topic. But Vietnam in particular, the reason that the American soldiers struggled so much against the Viet Cong is because of the way they fought. Mm-hmm. It's like you said, it's guerrilla warfare. We
never seen that really.
Well, we had, but not a whole lot, because when we started to invade the islands of Japan, we got a little taste of guerrilla warfare because the Japanese
they use foxholes and
Yeah,
stuff
they're
like
just
that.
as vicious. They're just as vicious as the Viet Cong. They fight the same way.
Yeah.
Booby traps
Mhm.
everywhere, hiding in the grass. They'll wait till you fall asleep. They'll
Yeah.
wait till night. That's when they come and attack while you're sleeping and kill you. They'll
Mhm.
kill a whole squad without blinking an eye while they're sleeping.
Mhm.
Cut throats.
That's what
That's
you got
how
to
they
do
fight.
if
They
you're gonna.
fight like animals.
They fight to win.
Yeah, that's it. That's the best way to put it. They fight to win.
Mhm. And I mean, no matter what people think, like there could be all these laws, like war crimes and stuff like that. There's no right or wrong way to do war. War. It's not. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The end goal is to win. The end goal is to survive, and you're gonna
You're
do
right.
that to any means necessary. I'm just saying, like that's
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 why
gonna
they
happen.
say all's fair in love and war.
Exactly. They could put these gray areas on things, how we used Agent Orange, how white phosphorus is being used, how Syria did like the chemical of their own like chemical warfare it's warfare. It's a strategic warfare. Like it's war. Like if you got to use it, if that's your option, I mean use
That's
it.
what it takes to win.
Yeah. And I mean it's bad to say it because a lot of innocent people get hurt from it, but I mean, that's the same as us cluster bombing someone, or it's like Russia cluster bombing someone, or anyone doing it.
We dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
I mean, yeah, that's bad to laugh about, but yeah, it's true. We did. I mean, we gave
And
them warning, warned them.
honestly, honestly, I don't think that we could have successfully invaded the island of Japan
Oh
and,
no,
and took it.
I don't think so either. Just by the way it's laid out and how they fought and how they knew, like they knew so much, like about their own land and stuff,
Do you
and
know how many times they've defended that land from
yeah,
invaders? They withstood Genghis Khan.
exactly.
A little island, Japan, a little island, withstood the might of Genghis Khan and his empire more
It's
than once.
yeah, I was gonna say they did it multiple times. It's like I mean, and this all goes to show that if you're attacking someone, you're never you don't you no matter what you do. I don't care if you use nuclear warfare or not. You're never gonna have the upper hand.
Well, if you use nuclear warfare, there ain't gonna be nothing left to claim,
Exactly. So you're never gonna get the upper hand.
right?
You're gonna have a hole in the ground, a crater with a lot of
Yep.
radioactive air. Like, what are you gonna do with that? Look at it. I mean, it's not gonna do you
You'll
any
have
good.
nobody will be able to inhabit that land for many years.
Oh yeah. I seen uh, I seen a thing where I think it was the defense ministry of Russia talking about them wanting to like invade Poland or something like that. Something like that. I gotta look this up because I want to be right on it. But it was something about that. They were talking about I don't know.
Nothing wrong with fact checking.
They're going. Um, trying to figure it out. Apparently, they're sending buses to Mariupol to get people out, so that's good.
They need to get all the civilians out of there. If there's any left, they need to get them out because
Oh yeah.
I can feel it. This is just beginning. This is going to be a long, drawn out battle. This is not going to be something that ends quickly.
Oh yeah, they said it was like a 48-hour deal, and now it's turned into this, and I don't see it ending by April, May, something so like into April, beginning of May, if not even farther.
The only way it's going to end that fast is if Vladimir Putin decides to hit that big red button.
Mm-hmm.
And if he did that, then the games will really begin.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I was looking up this thing about Poland, and people are comparing this to this guy. Don't know who he is. Just some random person on Twitter was talking about this. It said, put simply, Ukraine, by defending themselves against peace-loving Russia, started this war and therefore proves how right Russia was to invade. This is a joke, by the way. It says, but this part really kind of shocked me. The same as Poland started World War II by defending themselves when the peace-loving Nazis invaded in 1939. So think
I
about
love
that
the
one.
satire.
So think about that one.
That's good satire there. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what he's saying is he's not wrong. It's that Ukraine is literally just doing what any country would do,
Oh yeah.
and standing up for themselves. So if anybody out there blames Ukraine for any of this, they're ignorant.
Oh yeah. I mean
And it's like
the crazy thing is there's a lot of Russian people that stand for this war. Like it's mind blowing how many Russian it's just
it,
it's crazy
it doesn't blow my mind at all. You know why?
because
We talked about it
propaganda.
before. They want Vladimir Putin in particular wants to resurrect the USSR.
Yeah, true.
He wants to bring back the glory days of Russia, Soviet Union. The epitome of war, basically. That's what they were. Cold, rugged, rough, technologically advanced bastards,
Okay. Okay.
basically.
Here it is. Here it is. It says escalation. It says NATO now set to send 10,000 troops into Ukraine through Poland in the guise of peacekeeping force. Russia warns it will be an all-out war with NATO if this happens.
And it will.
And it says Russia planning to invade Poland by the end of the month.
Well, this is how I see this unfolding. Now, obviously, no one knows except the big guy upstairs. But I see it playing out with Russia doing exactly that, invading other countries.
Yeah.
And not only will it be Russia, it will progress. And when all these other countries start getting involved,
Mm-hmm.
Russia's ally, China, will get involved. And then North Korea will get involved. Because even though they
He
are
loves
different,
to stick his foot in the water any way he can get it.
yes, yes, even though they are different, their core values at the end of the day are the same. They are
Mm-hmm.
communists.
Yep. I don't. Who do you think? You think China would be stupid enough to try to invade Japan?
They've tried many times and they failed every single
Exactly.
time.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Do you think they try it again?
they might. Listen, uh, we talked about this before too. I brought up the point that there's just something about the Asian people, like as a people as a whole. They just the way they fight, the warriors that they produce since ancient times. They're just built different, and
Yeah.
they're little guys, but it doesn't matter because they fight like they're 12 feet tall and 500 pounds. They're fearless,
Exactly.
and they fight to win. And Japan, in particular, the samurai were built different. So no, I don't. I don't think China would try to invade Japan. That the only way they would be able to take Japan is if they blew it off the face of the earth.
That is very true.
People don't realize in warfare when you try to take an island, how difficult that really is.
Oh yeah, you got to go in by land. You got to air land. You got to go in by sea or by air. And if you're going in by air, you get shot down. If you're going in by sea,
Exactly.
you're
They're blowing
seen.
you up.
They will see you before you get
They're
like
blowing.
you're gonna be
Yep.
seen either way. So I mean,
They're blowing you out of the air. They're blowing you out of the water. And if you do happen to make it to land, they're going to be waiting for you.
I mean, just look at D-Day. Look at Normandy. what happened. I mean,
Exactly.
it worked
Perfect
out.
example.
It worked out, but look how long it took and how many casualties there were.
I was about to say, look how many lives it took
Exactly.
to take that beach. Way too many.
Exactly.
And that was very dumb
Oh yeah.
on the United States government's part.
Oh yeah.
You don't sacrifice that many men to take a beach. You come at it from a different angle.
Yeah. I mean, looking
I
back on it, there's so
understand.
many different ways that you could have took that. But they had
I
defensive positions already
understand.
set up.
Right. I know they wanted that beach because of the strategic point that it was, as
Mm-hmm.
far as bringing in ships carrying troops, but it wasn't worth that many lives. You don't sacrifice. Listen, every soldier in warfare is valuable. Every pawn
Oh yeah.
is valuable. I'm not saying that if you're a military leader that you don't have to sometimes make a hard choice and go into a situation knowing you're going to have to sacrifice some men to get the job done. That happens, obviously. But if it can be avoided, you avoid it.
Yeah, I try to avoid it at all costs. And I mean,
Manpower is very valuable.
oh yeah, well trained manpower is extremely valuable. Like what I was thinking was if let's just say like Russia gets obviously they're gonna get Belarus involved. Belarus is already involved, and like they did like obviously that air assault that they dropped troops and yada yada all that crap. If China decides to get involved, how different it would be, how different the fighting style would be. Because I don't know. I mean, I would guess China would know how to do like obviously urban assaults. Like Syria knows how to do it. That's why Russia was bringing in Syrian troops to train their soldiers how to do it.
China, they'll fight like an animal. And actually, the best way to describe how they'll fight, like a dragon. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
They're a giant dragon.
yeah,
Hordes and hordes of men because they have so many men.
yeah. They would just throw
They
them.
have such a huge population.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be like it would be like literally a giant dragon just storming a battlefield. It'll sound like one coming when they come. That's how many men they have.
I was gonna say you wouldn't be able to take them all down at once, no matter how many men you have, how many guns, how much ammo. Like that's
And
crazy.
they won't stop. They're not built that way. It's like I said before, the way these Asians fight, man, they they don't quit.
No, there's no quitting them.
They do not give up. It doesn't matter if they're outnumbered, outgunned. It doesn't matter. They care about none of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to find a way to win, whatever it takes. And a part of me respects that because, like we said, at the end of the day, what really matters? Victory.
Exactly. Is winning at all cost. Oh, let's segue into something that's a little bit happier. Is what's going on in the NBA right now? What is going on with the Nets, man? I think they've dropped. I think they're out of the playoff race right now in the East, unless they got a win last night, which I did not see. I don't think.
Well, honestly, I think the problem that the Nets have is the coach. As bad as I hate to say it.
Steve Nash.
Yep.
Think he's the problem?
I do think he's the problem. I think that Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons could be a cohesive 3-man unit on the floor.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Ben Simmons in particular fits in to Steve Nash's coaching style at all.
I could see that.
Because I think the way that Steve Nash approaches the game of basketball is the same way he approached it as a point guard, which he was very good at, one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And the way the game is played now, the way that Steve Nash played the game, that it just doesn't mesh with Ben Simmons' game because he can't shoot.
That is true. That is very true. I think the Lakers are in the play-in game in the East or the West. I think that's what's going on over there now. So it's crazy to think that two of the teams that everyone thought was going to the finals are struggling so hard right now. Like, it's so
I think that the Lakers can pull it out and get in the playoffs. Now, what happens after that? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, LeBron James, and listen, I am not a LeBron James fanboy. Right?
Mm.
I have always said that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, and I will always continue to say that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. But that does not take away from the greatness of LeBron James because the man is 37 years old and he's leading the league in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't hear that. Like we've never seen anyone that old be that great. Kareem wasn't that great at that point in his career. MJ, I don't even think he played till he was 37. He has less seasons in than LeBron. But when MJ was on the Wizards, yes, he was still MJ. He could still get a bucket.
Yeah.
He's still that guy, but he was not anywhere near what he was on the Chicago Bulls.
No. Like he was I wouldn't say a shell of himself because he could still do some things, but he was just not.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to call him a shell of himself, but he just wasn't. He wasn't that same Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have the athletic ability like he did before.
Yeah, he still had the scoring, but it was a different style of scoring than he had.
He
When
was scoring in the post.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Karl Malone, look at him at the end of his career. He was so dominant for so long. Second all-time leading scorer until LeBron
Mm-hmm.
passed him.
Yep.
But at the end of Karl's career, he was a shell of him former self. Now, don't get me wrong, he got injured, and I think that played a big part in it. But I'm just saying, man, LeBron James is 37 years old. We have never seen, nor do I think we will ever see, anybody dominate the game for this long. Again, I just don't think we'll see it.
And how much longer will he dominate it? That's the thing.
I'd say at least 4 or 5 more seasons he's got left in the tank.
So
If he wants.
I'm looking at Woj's Twitter right now, and I'm seeing that Anthony Davis is supposed to play Friday, so that's a good thing. He's been out since like mid-February.
If they can get AD back in the rotation, keep him healthy. That's what they need. They need Anthony Davis.
Yeah. As of right now, the Lakers are half a game ahead of the Spurs for a final playing game.
You know, there's a part of me that hates to hear that because I'm a Spurs fan, but you know, DeJounte Murray can only do so much, man.
Yeah, they got a couple more pieces. I think will be solid.
I agree. I wish that I thought that Greg Popovich was going to stay to see that where they get a couple more pieces and can build another dynasty, but I don't think he's going to.
Yep.
One of the greatest of all time. Old Pop.
I seen a thing earlier today where Kevin Durant and James Harden were on a trip this, I think it was last summer, and it was when they got to the Nets or whatever, and James Harden told KD twice that he was going to re-sign with the Nets. And then fast forward to now, and he's on the Sixers because he requested a
Well,
trade.
apparently it had to do with Kyrie. Is what the speculation is. Who really knows?
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of that, maybe, and the fact that they weren't as successful as they should have been.
Yeah.
I think that played a
I
big
think that was a
part
big
in it as
thing.
well.
Yeah.
Yes, I do too, and I think that him and Joel Embiid can be a cohesive unit together, a good 2-man duo on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They just need a little time to get the chemistry. That's it.
And
Cause,
I wish I knew the stat that they had, that how many games that Big Three actually played together, because it was like a fraction of the season. I don't even think it was double-digit games. So it never had a chance.
right. And that was part of the frustration, that James Harden was having. And I get that.
Yeah, I understand it.
I get why he would be frustrated. But back to the Sixers, man. Joel Embiid,
He's eating.
man, it makes me happy to see a big man dominate like that because that's my style of basketball. That's what I like to watch. I like that old school, give it to the big man down low, let him eat basketball. Barbecue chicken, as Shaq would say. And he can step out and hit the three. The dude's talented out of his mind. Best center in the league, hands down.
He's showing it. He's doing good. He's MVP candidate for sure.
And if he won it, I'd be 100% okay with it. He's definitely deserving. Who do you think should be MVP this season?
Man, I don't know, because there's so many different. Like, one person that I haven't even seen on anyone's radar that I would put would be Devin Booker.
Yeah,
At
D
least
Book,
on the
man.
radar somewhere, because, I mean, he. Man, is the only, well, besides Chris Paul now, was the only living form on that Suns team for the longest time. And he was outscoring 60, 50, 60, 40, 30, like almost every night. And no one looked at him because he was on the Suns. Now that Chris Paul's on
Well,
there and they're doing good, he's still
yeah,
doing good
because
because it's Chris Paul's on there now.
he needed the help. He needed some help. And Chris
Mm-hmm.
Paul was that guy, and I think that's part of the reason why people are not talking about him for MVP is because the team wasn't having that much success until they got Chris Paul.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably a reason why people are not throwing Devin Booker's name out there. But I agree that he should definitely be in the running
I think it would either
because
realistically be
he is the
Embiid.
offense.
Embiid or probably. It's got to be the usual. It's either got to be Embiid, Giannis, LeBron, or well, it would have been John Morant before he got injured.
What about DeMar DeRozan?
They had DeMar. I mean, there's just so many. Man, there's so many good players.
DeMar has been playing out of his mind
Oh yeah.
all season long. This is this the best season he's ever had? How about let
It
me
rivals. It rivals. What year was it in Toronto? Oh man, I'm trying to think of what year it was. He had a breakout season in Toronto. I don't remember. It was like a couple years. It was like 2 years before he got traded. He was going off in Toronto. But I think it statistically should be his best season. Zach LaVine was doing good too. That team's just. I like that team.
I'm also a fan of the Bulls.
Do a little research also.
Let's see here. This season, DeMar DeRozan is averaging 27.7, a steal, 5 assists, 5.5 rebounds, shooting 87 from the free throw line,
Good lord.
which is great,
Yeah.
and 50% from the field. And he's actually He's shooting 35% from the 3-point line, which I mean that's not
That's good for him though.
that is good for him.
Yeah.
He's definitely worked on his 3-pointer. Dude's just playing out of his mind, and I love to see it because I felt like he got so much dirt thrown on him when he got traded to San Antonio,
Mm-hmm.
and then Kawhi ended up winning the chip for
Oh
Toronto.
yeah, I remember. Because I was never really a big fan of DeMar in Toronto. I wasn't, and I always thought that the Raptors were overrated. And I thought that not the Raptors, but Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan as a pairing was overrated. I always thought that. Everyone talked so good about him, but they never showed up when it counted. And then when DeMar got traded and Kawhi went and won a chip with Lowry, that I was like, you see what I was talking. You see, like that duo was never gonna work. Now Kyle Lowry's in Miami, who's the number 1 team in the East, and now DeMar DeRozan's on the Bulls, who's number 5 in the East. Like, I mean, they're both doing good respectively. I just don't think they could. I don't think they could get it done together. Plus, they, ran into LeBron every time.
Right.
Every time, literally every time. So I mean, that's one knock against them, but I mean,
I've always been a fan of DeMar. I really like the fact that he stays true to himself because he's the mid-range maestro,
yeah.
and they've tried to get him to become a 3-point shooter, which he has worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
But his go-to move is that mid-range jumper.
Oh yeah.
15 to 18 footer. Automatic. Like a free throw.
So, as of right now, well, we're not even going to go to the West because the Suns are 8.5 games ahead of the Grizzlies. But right now, the Eastern Conference standings as it goes, Heat, Bucks, Celtics, which surprised me because I haven't really watched any Celtics games this year. 76ers, Bulls, Raptors, Cavs, Nets, and Hornets. Right now, and you could throw in the Hawks as a potential playing game, as a potential.
I enjoy watching the Hawks play basketball. Am I the only one that feels that way?
Well, they got, what is it? So it's 76 games right now. So they got 6 games left, and they're half a game away from the playing game. Behind the
I
Hornets.
just like watching. I like watching Trae Young and John Collins and Clint Capella get after it.
Oh yeah, I did too.
They're a decent team.
I just feel like they're getting overshadowed by. I mean, like a team that I said that neither one of us acknowledged really was the Cavaliers in 7th. They're 42-34. The
Darius
Cavaliers.
Garland, man. Darius Garland.
That's insane. That is insane. And then you hop to the West, which I seen a tweet earlier that someone tweeted, and it got me to thinking that it's kind of weird because it's kind of ironic that the Grizzlies are playing better without John Morant than they were with John Morant.
Like, that is quite insane, isn't it?
It is crazy. But right now it's the Suns who are 62 and 14. The Phoenix Suns. Go back 6 years ago, people would call you stupid if you said that. They're 62. This looks like someone made this on 2K. Like that's what it looks like.
The Suns haven't been this successful since Steve Nash himself.
Exactly.
And Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion. That's the squad they had back in the early 2000s.
And then the Grizzlies are 8.5 games behind them. And the West, besides if you look at the win ratio, look like the East. It used to look. You know how they were so far spread apart? But from first to third, it's 14.5 games separating them. The third seed in the West is 48-29. Which in the East, that would still put you at top 3 seed. Top 2 actually. Because the Bucks are 47-28. So, just shows that the West is still better. I guess you could say it.
I don't know what it is about the Western Conference, man, but they just always seem to be a couple steps ahead of the East.
Yeah, even when the East had
whether they win, Right. Whether they win the chip or not, as far as the standings go, as the records, the West, they just get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this roster, the Cleveland Cavaliers, right?
Yeah.
This is a young, talented roster they have there. So I'm not surprised that they're doing as good as they are. Honestly, they have Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, two
Mm-hmm.
beasts. They got Afro Samurai, Jared Allen at center,
I forgot about Jared
Karis
Allen being there.
LeVert. They got Kevin Love, Laurie Marketing, Rondo as a veteran,
Oh yeah.
Colin Sexton, another talented guard, Cedi Osman, who's decent,
Mm-hmm.
young guy, Isaac Okoro, another decent young guy, Dean Wade, another decent young guy.
I
I
think
mean,
he's hurt though. I think Dean Wade's hurt. He's out the rest of the season.
is he?
Yeah. I think I seen that other day. I mean,
But I mean, they have.
they kind of got blew out today though. They got blew out by 24 to the Hawks, which is good for the Hawks because that puts them a step closer to the playing game. It doesn't really
Listen,
hurt
man,
Cleveland.
those Atlanta Hawks can get nasty, man.
Oh yeah.
John Collins is a very underrated player in the league. I feel like
And I don't know how, cause he's. I feel like he was on everyone's radar because he was so good.
he's like Miles Bridges, but
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah. I mean,
Like he's literally just a bigger version of Miles Bridges. Like they play the exact same way. They're super athletic, always cutting to the basket off the pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
If they need to, they can step out and knock down the three. And good shot blockers, both of them. So
Am I the only one that would like to see a Nets Hornets playoff game or playoff playing game?
Nets Hornets, now that would be something.
That would be something. They're 8th and 9th right now.
LaMelo versus
Kyrie.
Kyrie, KD going against Miles Bridges.
Uh-huh.
I No offense to Miles, I feel like he's gonna get super cooked
Oh yeah.
in that matchup. But because that's Kevin Durant and he does what he does.
Yeah, he's gonna score. You just gonna have to match him.
I'll have to dunk on him and hurt his pride.
Exactly. There have been some mean posters this year too. Like just thinking.
Yeah,
about
Miles Bridges
he has a couple.
he's responsible for a lot of those.
Yeah. I remember I seen LeBron was talking about whenever he dunked on Kevin Love. He said when he turned and he said when he took off he said he seen Kevin Love there and he said I kind of felt bad when I did it. He said because I love Kevin Love, but he said I was sorry it had to be him, but you know.
You gotta get a bucket, man.
Exactly.
Don't matter who's down there.
So if we're looking at this, it's either gonna be the Pelicans and Lakers in the playing game, which right now the Pelicans have it, but the Pelicans play the Lakers Friday. Yeah, they play tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah, Friday. It's Thursday as we're recording this. You know, they usually upload time, but so today when you all are watching it, but that would cut it to. It would be the Lakers would be 32 and 44, and the Pelicans would be 33 and 44. I don't. What's the? Hold on. Let me check the. Let me check the Lakers schedule. Let me check what games they have left.
If you had asked me before the season started where I thought the Denver Nuggets would be, I would have told you I think they'll be number 1, and they're number 5.
Yeah.
And if you'd asked me where I thought the Memphis Grizzlies would be in the standings, I'd have said probably 10, 11, and they're number 2.
It's a John Moran effect, man. They play good.
They
play even better without him.
that young group, man. They got Ja, they got Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. That dude's a baller too.
Oh, he's a beast.
He is. He's nice with it. He is. I like his game.
So actually, as of recording this, hold on before we finish this. This is the Lakers' last couple games. They play in exactly 2 minutes. They play the Jazz, which, if I'm going to be honest, I think it's an L. Then they play the Pelicans. 50-50 toss up. Nuggets, L. Suns, L. Warriors, L depending on who's playing.
The Warriors haven't been playing that great.
Yeah, that is true. And Curry's hurt, I think. I think he sprained his ankle or something like that. I don't know. Okay, well then we'll chalk that one to a toss-up. Since both the teams have been playing. Thunder, they could win that one. And then they play again at the Nuggets, which that one is an L. First one, Sundays, is at home, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt being at home. They might win that one. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 out of their last 7 games is a possible win. So if you put that into perspective, they would be 40 or they would be 35 and 47. Now, would that put them in a play-in game in the West?
Maybe.
Let's check the Pelicans real quick. Let's check the Pelicans next coming up games, which they won yesterday against the Blazers. They got the Lakers, which give or take 50-50. Clippers. Paul George was cooking the other night too. By the way, he was cooking. So we'll chalk that one up to an L because it's at the Clippers.
Playoff P.
Kings. I think the Pelicans got that one, even though it's at the Kings. The Blazers again, which this time it's at New Orleans. I think that's a win. Grizzlies, L. Warriors, 50-50. So, okay, let's just say the Pelicans split these last games. Even if they split these last games and they don't hold the tiebreaker over the Lakers, or they do hold the tiebreakers over the Lakers, which I think they're 2-1 right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Even if they go 50-50, I don't think the Lakers can statistically make the playoffs. Or the play-in game. I don't think
So you
possible.
think the Lakers are done?
If the now by all means, if the Pelicans lose all these games, then they will more than likely not make it. Then the Lakers will make it. If the Lakers can pull out 4 wins out of these last 7, right? I think that they might. I think it's a very, very slim chance, but I think it's possible. And I'll be honest, it's all depending on how the Spurs do too. Spurs could sneak in there.
Only time will tell.
Because
only time will tell.
It's 9 and 10 play, right? 9 and 10 play, and then 9 and 8 play, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, still, that leaves the Spurs. Let's look at the Spurs. Let's look at the games they have coming up. Trailblazers. Dang, they got back-to-back with the Trailblazers. Both of them are at San Antonio, too. I guess it's a makeup game or something like that. I don't know.
2 W's, and then they play the Nuggets. They're going to lose that probably.
Yeah.
Timberwolves are probably going to lose that.
I give them 50-50 on that. It depends on how Cat and them want to play. But it's at Minnesota, so yeah, we'll chalk that up to a W or an L just because it's in Minnesota. Warriors at Spurs. Depending on how the Warriors play against the Lakers, I think that's what the game comes down to. If the Warriors can come out hot and beat the Lakers, then they should have it pretty handily with like that confidence-wise. They should go into this game thinking they have it. But say if they play mediocre and still get a win, I think the Spurs could drag it out, especially being in San Antonio. And then they got the Mavs, which
they're gonna lose that.
Yeah. So,
my question is, who do you think is coming out on top this season? Who's winning the whole thing? Who's bringing home that championship trophy?
My heart says Miami.
That's who you want to win, right?
Yeah.
Miami fan.
My heart says Miami.
What's your mind say?
Memphis.
Really?
Yes. If Ja can come back healthy and they keep dominating like they did without him, I think Memphis will roll through them. I think they'll roll through the West. Even the Suns. I think they'll roll through them. I think it'll be 4-0, 4-0, maybe 4-2. The hardest
You
game.
think that they can roll through the likes of Dallas Mavericks
Yep.
and the Denver Nuggets if they so play
If they
them?
have to play them. Right now it would be 2-7, so they'd be playing Minnesota. Honestly, I think that's a sweep. I think so.
I mean, unless Cat decides to become that
drop
guy.
60 a night. Yeah, drop 60 every game. Yeah. But then you got to stop Ja from doing that.
True.
So,
as much as I love D'Lo,
Jaren Jackson Jr., you got to stop him from doing that.
as much as I love D'Lo, he can't play defense like that.
No. And then, so let's just say the Mavericks would have to play the Jazz. I think the Mavericks honestly have that pretty handily. Because the Jazz aren't looking too cohesive. So, then you move them out. So then they would play the winner of the Nuggets Warriors. And who would you think would win there? Nuggets Warriors.
Nuggets.
So it would be.
I gotta go with my boy Jokic.
It would be the Nuggets and the Suns and the Grizzlies and the Mavericks.
It's gonna be hard to stop Phoenix in the West.
It is, especially being led by Chris Paul. That's why I gave it a 4-2. That's why I think
they have
maybe 4-3, probably 4-3.
They all have a chip on their shoulder because of last season.
Yeah.
What happened in the playoffs?
Yeah.
So they're gonna be coming with a vengeance this time.
And be honest, if they do this good in the regular season and they don't win, that's gonna look bad. It's gonna look like the Warriors, 73-9.
and then lose.
And then lose.
The greatest record in regular season history. And lose.
All to be overshadowed by a 3-1 deficit in the finals.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Two records being broken that same season.
Honestly, I think.
All right, but we're gonna close it on your comments. My heart says Miami. My gut says Memphis. What does yours say?
All right, to end this out, I'm going with out of the East, the Milwaukee Bucks. Tried and true. I gotta go with Giannis. I said he was gonna win it last year, and he proved me right. So I'm going with him again. The Greek Freak. He can't be stopped. He can't be stopped. He can't. Nobody can stop that man. I don't care who you put on him. You bring the double, the triple. He's just gonna hit Chris Middleton for the 3. All right, that's who I got coming out of the East. Out of the West. Out of the West. This one's a little more tricky.
This one's got you stumped.
I gotta go with the Nuggets, man.
Really?
I just have a feeling. Yeah, I just have this feeling that Jokic is gonna play out of his mind.
I could see it.
And that nobody is gonna be able to stop him. Because he's been carrying the load this whole season because my man Jamal Murray has been out.
That is very true.
Now if they had Jamal Murray, I'd almost guarantee you they'd win it.
I don't think it's not possible for them to get him back, is it either?
No.
So, yeah.
Nope. Unfortunately. And I really love watching him play too. I love his game.
This is just like the beginning of building up a cake. And potentially next year when he comes back, they can put a cherry on top of that cake.
Yes. But like I said, only time will tell, so we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds. But I'm excited for the playoffs this year. I think it's gonna be really exciting.
I think
be really good games, really good series.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be
I feel like there's gonna I feel like there's gonna be some upsets. There's gonna be a lot of upsets.
Mm-hmm.
and that's always exciting. Even if it's my team, even if it's the Bucks, man.
I mean, they got upset just like Miami did. Posted to Eastern Conference Finals first round exits next year. That's man, that year was insane. But hope y'all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Sorry it's a day late. Sorry, Mother Nature decided to send 80-mile-an-hour winds to where we live and knock out power. But I hope y'all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of the podcast.
Take care, everybody.